All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And boy, did my last video generate quite a bit of hate and quite a bit of backlash. And I am going to correct something I said in the last video, and I'm also going to address some of that hate, but not in the typical way. So first of all, I did make a mistake in my last video, and I mentioned that Black Adam made $600 million in its run, and it did not. It made $400 million. It would have made between $600 and $800 million had it been released in those other large markets across the world that it did not, that every other DC release has been able to achieve. So they simply did not release it in a couple of big markets across the world. And so it lost out on quite a bit of money. For it to be its domestic run, and what it made was very respectable considering the previous 3 to 4 films made nowhere near that amount of money. Now, people are getting irritated when I say Black Adam was not a massive flop. And it wasn't. It wasn't a massive flop. And you have to look, when I look at terms of success, I look at the amount of people that went into the theater to actually see a movie. How many tickets were actually sold? And people can talk about, well, the budget on the film was this, and it had to make this and that. You can argue that all day long. But that doesn't, the budgets don't generate buzz. The budgets don't bring people into the seats. It's what the tickets actually, what these movies actually sold in terms of tickets at the theater. And that's what's important. And it is a fact, if you look at a graphical chart, that Warner Brothers was struggling until Black Adam came out. Now, people talk about the Batman making $700 million. Sure, it did, but that is not a DCEU film. That is an Elseworlds film, and it was a serious movie. And this goes back to what I said before. And I'm going to show you guys something that somebody put in my Twitter feed that I'm going to share today that's going to show you that the comedy stuff for Warner Brothers never does well when it comes to superheroes, but all the serious stuff does. And we're going to take a look at that. And Black Adam was on that, getting back on that path of getting everybody geared towards the DCEU again. And again, the studio had a knee-jerk reaction, canceled everything right after that came out. And what has happened? The last 4 films have bombed. And trust me, Aquaman is going to be a bomb. They just keep lowering the expectations for that film. But let's take a look at some of the photos that I've grabbed since my last update. And I am presenting these in no particular order. So the first one I have here is somebody who posted this on Twitter. And this is showing the comparison between the announcement of Deadpool 3 and Henry coming back as Superman. And Henry coming back as Superman this is for Instagram, had generated 3.9 million views, whereas the Deadpool 3 announcement only did 3.7. And it says, yes, Henry generated a lot of hype, especially after everyone saw the Snyder Cut. But guess who Warner Brothers preferred to feed? This has got to be one of the biggest mistakes a company can make, and they did it. And this is why they are struggling. Because right after Black Adam came out, Henry Cavill announced he was back at the behest of the studio. The studio is the one who asked him to go out and do this. They liked his post. They shared it. It was that special video where he talked about if you're patient, good things are coming. And he went on the circuit for the next couple of months doing interviews. And then all of a sudden he is fired. And then everything tanks after that. Yes, there's a correlation there, okay? And people are going to come after me and say he never had a contract, he wasn't fired. Yes, he was fired because he was the current Superman. So yes, he was fired. I don't care if he didn't have a contract yet, he was fired from the role, period. Now, this is something that was interesting that started to float around, and it says, James Gunn says, when I'm casting a role, I will sometimes see who fans have suggested online for folks I or my casting directors haven't considered. Sometimes they have good ideas. Sometimes terrible ones. I don't remember it actually leading to someone being cast, however. But then someone posted right after this pictures of them talking about Corn Sweat like 3-4 years ago and how he looked like Henry Cavill and should be cast as Superman. And so what I'm gathering from all the stuff that's out there and all the proof that you can find, that he is basically doing what the studio was going to do originally, that he's just following the blue plan that they left, the blue plan that they left behind, and now they can execute it because they made him the head of the studio, and they can say it was all his idea, but I don't necessarily think that it was. So this goes to what I talked about a few minutes ago, and someone posted this directly for me and said the life cycle of DC movies for the last 25 years, and this is very true. The serious Reeves Superman 1 and 2 were a success. The goofy Superman 3 and 4 were a flop. Serious Burton Batman 1 and 2 were a success. The goofy Batman 3 and 4 were a flop. Serious Nolan and Snyder DC movies were a success. The goofy Hamadaverse, mega flop. Will Warner Brothers ever learn? And it's true. It is 100% true. I would even throw in there, not just that, I'd throw in the Batman and I would throw in the Joker, even though those are Elseworld stories. It is the more serious stuff that the people are gravitating towards. People are sick and tired of the superhero comedies. They're cookie cutter stuff. It's all cookie cutter stuff, and it's boring. It's annoying. We need to get back to the more serious stuff. So apparently, and I don't know how true this is coming from Fandom Wire, and I've seen some stuff that was true coming from them, some not, but there's talk of James Gunn's Chapter 2 and 3. So it says James Gunn's DCU Chapters 2 and 3 reportedly releasing 10 insane projects to beat the MCU. Teen Titans movie and more are in the works. Now, we don't have any solid proof of this. He hasn't announced the other 2 chapters that are going to be in the first phase of this DCU universe. I honestly think we're not going to hear a lot of buzz on Chapters 2 and 3 until Superman Legacy comes out. And with everything that's happening, I still believe in 2 years or a year and a half when it comes out, it's going to be a flop. It has to be an amazing movie for it to make money, and I just don't think he's up to the task. And if I am wrong, I will admit it, that I was wrong when the movie comes out. If it does well, I will be here and I will totally admit it. But I follow trends and I'm rarely wrong. I think there's only one or two times I can remember in all the time I've been predicting stuff over the last 20 years where I've actually been wrong on something. One of those was recently with the Super Mario movie. I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know it was going to be over $1 billion big, and it ended up being huge. This, I don't see it even making the Batman numbers. And what's crazy about this is the Batman didn't even make as much money as Batman versus Superman. And that doesn't even account for inflation, in which Batman versus Superman would have made close to $1 billion. And how does a Batman movie, even though it's not part of the DCEU, not make $1 billion? How? How does that happen? And I will tell you, I have never seen a movie like the Batman get promoted as much as the Batman did. It was freaking everywhere. Warner Brothers went all out to promote that movie, and it still didn't break $1 billion. And apparently that's what those real DC fans claim is the benchmark for films. So this is something that really makes you think. It says, who would have thought Dwayne Johnson and Black Adam would be the king of DC? Aquaman 2 box office bombing, massively trailing Black Adam. You know, it's pretty crazy. You come off, this is what I said before, you come off $1 billion hit, and now you're going to be a box office bomb, meaning the last time people actually got their butts in the seats was for Black Adam for the DCEU, and then they changed course and screwed everything up. There's also predictions here that Aquaman 2 may be heading toward a worse box office crash than the Marvels. And what's crazy is the Marvels had a historic week 2 drop, massive drop. Aquaman 2 box office predictions suggest the Lost Kingdom is headed for a fate worse than the Marvels when it premieres in December. We're less than a month away from this, and I'm hoping I'll be able to get my ticket early to go see it because I really want to focus on Rebel Moon when it gets released on the 22nd. I'm going to be very, very busy that week, and so I need to see if I'm going to have time to even go see this I would like to get my review up before it officially gets released, but we'll see if Warner Brothers allows me to see it early like they have all the other films. Now, this made me laugh because this is true, because you have all the supposed DC fans on Twitter, on YouTube saying, oh, real DC fans don't go, should be going to the movies, and then they don't show up for the comedies that they've been begging for. So when it says, when real DC fans turn out to be just keyboard warriors instead of box office heroes. And it's true. I can tell you the things that I've dealt with on Twitter, the amount of hate. I've had to block some people that are starting to liken me to serial killers and other things. I don't put up with that stuff. It's disgusting, and it just goes to show you that I think most of the people on Twitter are teenagers. And they're people that are hiding themselves so they won't basically get a beat down. I think they're hiding their identities and just being these keyboard warriors to be stupid. And so there's no consequences behind it. And some of it is quite disgusting. So as of the time of me doing this video, Warner Brothers is still tanking. Their stock is horrible. Their investors are losing more and more faith every day as the days go by. It is the Titanic. It is a sinking ship. And I don't see them doing anything to fix it anytime in the near future. And so as more information gets released, I guarantee you I'm going to post this video and something big's going to get announced. It happens every time I do a video, but if anything gets announced between today and the next video, I will, or the next time I would normally do a video, I will be posting another video. I also have my movie and TV show update coming as well. There's some pretty cool things that have happened and some things I want to share, so I'm looking forward to doing that as well. I do appreciate all the support. If you guys like the video, please hit that like button. It helps out tremendously. Share the video. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you won't miss a video when I release it. All right, now, we are also in the holiday season, and I've had some people ask me, are you going to review stuff like the original Home Alone films? If you go to my movie reviews 3 years ago, I did do a Home Alone movie review and a Home Alone 2 movie review, which I had never seen those movies before. So that's coming from somebody who had never seen them and was watching them with fresh eyes in 2020. So you guys can check those out. In fact, I'll leave a link to both of those videos in the description of this one. I do appreciate the support. We will see you on the next video.